What's up? What's up? Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you all. Hump Day. The greatest commercial of all time, in my opinion, was a Geico commercial back in the day where this camel was walking around an office going, Hump Day, to celebrate Wednesday. We have arrived. I'm ready to rock and roll today. I'm feeling like it's a wild Wednesday. I'm ready to get moving. I'm ready to get grooving. I'm ready for a big day today. I got my morning exercise in. If anybody else got their morning exercise in, let's get a 1 in the chat. Give yourself a little round of applause. I need to, motivate myself by advertising it to you all. But without further ado, I will give you a preview of what we have ahead. We are entering a day today where we had a little bit of a gap overnight, and we're trending down a little bit. So we've got 2 expert traders for you who are going to tell us what exactly they are seeing on ES and NQ. Every single day on the show, every single day, we work hard to deliver you the most interesting chart of the day. Things that you would not otherwise be looking at. Sometimes it's stocks, sometimes it's futures outside of the norm of what we look at. But every day we are bringing you the most interesting chart of the day. So we have that ahead. We've got a spicy educational segment. I won't tell you what exactly it is, in part because I don't know. But I do know that it is a spicy one. So stay tuned for that. And at 10 a.m. sharp, we've got a very special guest. Number 1 vibes on our show. I'm sorry, Barbie. I'm sorry, Forrest. But best vibes on the show, Mr. TG Capital Tyler is going to come and brighten our days. And he's ready to live trade. If he's got a trade on, he's ready to hit it and show us what he's looking at. So without further ado, Barbie, Forrest, I would like to welcome you onto the stream. I'm going to start with the controversial topic. It's a question for the chat, but I'd like both of your feedback. Should we do free accounts today? Yes or no?
Not controversial.
Ooh, today?
Everyone wants to make everything controversial these days. That is not controversial.
I don't know, man. Chat, what do you guys think? What do you guys think, chat?
See, there they
A
are.
lot of no's.
No controversy at all.
Okay.
So no, let's see. Let's take a look here. Best Fitness in the chat said no.
He doesn't need any then. It's fine.
Yeah, we might have to listen to Best. I guess, chat, should we listen to Best Fitness? I saw a solid no from him. So if we ought to listen to him, let us know. But I guess that's TBD. It seems like the chat is out. The chat is hot today. Electric, I'll say. If you have not yet liked the stream, we have 321 people on with us right now. Now is your chance, as good a time as any, because we are not doing any giveaways until we get to at least 650 concurrent viewers on the YouTube channel. Liking it, putting in comments that are not spam, specifically putting in constructive questions, comments, ideas, levels, etc. helps. Okay, so help yourself, help your fellows, and sharing it in your Discords helps. All right, so that was my spicy, controversial topic. Like to go to something a little bit less controversial. Donald Trump, we like him or not?
There you go.
Wow. You're
All
on.
right. All right, how about ES? ES, we like it or not, Barbie?
Well, that's my baby, so I always like that.
What about today? Do you like it today?
So to FOMC days, since it's not just hump day, it's also FOMC day. My approach is a little bit different. So I guess we'll probably end up talking about that a lot today. But I don't hit my analysis as hard because, like normal, the market hasn't moved very much so far this week. So I'm looking more ahead to what consequences FOMC could have for the end of the week and going into next week.
Bombka, as I call it. Sorry, I had to go get my shades. Someone asked me where my shades were. They're always close by.
But Barbie, will you throw us your chart? Can we take a look?
Let's take a look. So I'm starting on the daily because this is what I keep kind of watching. I always say I'm putting everything in context of the daily and the hourly charts. So that's where I start. And what I was looking at was staying between the 200 and the 50 on the daily for the first half of the week until FOMC. And that's exactly what we've done. Price doesn't really want to do anything too creative without knowing what the meeting results are going to be. So if we move down to the hourly, Let me put on the one with the levels for you. Here's my analysis paralysis. It's got like 4 levels. Oh my God. Okay.
4?
Somebody was giving me crap in the chat about that already today. Look at how many levels I have on the hourly chart. But so the main one that I'm watching, these are kind of the same levels I've been watching, but we have a lot of really strong support in the middle of this gap from the beginning of April. It's a filled gap, but these levels have been kind of our levels while we've been congregating here. But so the 5630 level is kind of that main level that I'm watching, and that was definitely kind of our midpoint yesterday. So we'll see if that ends up becoming resistance if we get below it today, or if it firms up as support, or if it's just kind of a level that we hang around a lot today. When we get into the FOMC decision, sometimes this is a little bit hard. So if I come back, we looked at this the other day, the Fed Watch tool. And so now this is all the way up at 99%, expecting just a pause and nothing to change. So what that does for the charts is the surprise element is not likely to be in the Fed, in the actual rate, but we could get some comments during the meeting and things. And so during those comments, I'll see if we end up kind of out of this whole range. We've been 5,600 to 5,700 for a while. So I want to see if we can get out of that range. I don't know if we're going to get it with just the rate, but we might get it more with the continuation after the rate. So yeah, I've got this yellow box drawn on here, my analysis paralysis box. And if we get outside of this box, I think trading to the upside will be easier out of there, and trading to the downside will be easier out of there. But we're kind of forming this like widening megaphone deal. So I think that structure is going to break out one way or another later today.
All right. I'm going to ask you this question, Barbie, in a provocative way. Do you typically, I know you talked about today, but do you typically trade FOMC days, or are you scared?
FOMC.
Same question to the chat. I'm going to start a poll in our YouTube.
Yeah, start a poll. I'll tell you how I feel about it, but I want to hear how the chat feels about it too. I have kind of gone here, there. Forrest is in a mood this morning. Look at him go.
His chat is lit up too. It's a wild Wednesday. I called it Wild Wednesday. It's go time.
I've gone back and forth to where I just will completely sit out on FOMC days, and I've been where I sit at the computer and I'm all dialed in on an FOMC day. These days I'm a lot more chill about it, so I'm less likely to take anything unless it's a really good setup. I had mentioned earlier in the week some of the premium setups, if we're selling iron condors or credit spreads in the options market, those aren't going to be effective today. So that all those pages from my playbook are just off the books today. And then we are getting a volatile market, and there is kind of a way that you can trade it. We'll talk about that a little bit later, promise. But because it's such a volatile move, you have to know what you're dealing with, and so the stops aren't really the same. There's ways you can do it with options, and there's ways that you can deal with it on futures, but it's a very different trading style. So if you're not an aggressive trader, or if you're a trader like me who can kind of sometimes be aggressive, but not like the default is not aggressive, you have to kind of make that judgment. But I lean towards not trading it and waiting for the reaction afterwards.
All right, Forrest, you ready to turn up on this topic?
Hold on. Sorry, I was having a very serious conversation on the side. What are we talking about? FOMC?
Do you trade on FOMC days?
Do I trade on FOMC days? Guys, we're gonna popularize saying FOMC. It's just a fun. Do I trade FOMC, formerly known as FOMC? My trade plan, my default trade plan, is to wait for the afternoon unless there's some obvious first wave. So if you look back, and it's really easy to do like back testing on FOMC in particular, you can just look up the dates. Very often there is like a move the day before and after. FOMC tends to be a choppy day. I have had, there have been some FOMCs that have trended post-event that gave some really, really, really insane options returns that I have journaled. So I'll be looking for what I call like my gamma trades, essentially like taking option trades for extreme gamma ramp. But in general, I expect chop until 2 in the afternoon. And if we think about what that means, there's just not going to be really good setups, right? So if I'm looking right now, I'm going to short right now. I've been holding short for a little bit, but aside from this, like I expect us to start chopping into lunch. So yeah, it's just one of those things where really on the week, FOMC was the major event this week. I'm really looking for what the market does post FOMC overall, not even just today, like in the context of today. I know you asked about today. But yeah, I tread FOMC days very, very, very carefully in general, knowing just because they chop, right? After the event, if we start running in a direction, it's probably going to keep running in that direction into close. I'd say that. So.
All right.
It's kind of one of those things that we were talking about yesterday where the market has a place where it wants to go and it's looking for that excuse, and that'll either be not having a surprise or having a surprise.
So Forrest, you're advising sit on your hands a little bit until the news is out, and then look for the trending. If it breaks some level or there's some VPE significance, and then trade in that trend.
I would just be more cautious knowing that the day tends to chop. If you see a trade, take the trade. I'm in a trade right now. Okay, that's right. We came down. Previous POC it was open here. It's naked. Just got tested. Okay, naked POC retest, and we'll see if this is going to revert back up to here or if we're going to run to these open lows. Right, kind of what I'm thinking right now. So yeah, I mean, you guys can trade. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not the one pressing your buttons. If we look
you might
at
be pressing someone's
you always
buttons.
press our buttons. Yeah.
Hey, if we're looking at ES, we're looking at ES. Sorry guys, I got.
Wait, hold on. I just want to say to everybody out there watching, we have more fun on this stream than any other stream. If you not only want the education, but you also want to be energized for the day and have some fun, this is the place to be. And make sure your friends know that. But keep going, Forrest.
Make sure all your friends know. For the same trade, looking at just the confluence on ES, we do have this distribution here. So like traversing this node would get us around to the value area low, which would probably give us confluence with NQ if we put these side by side running. So we got prior day VAL. And if we look at where NQ is, it's already at that point of control. So probably the same place here. But this node here, so we have this price, which is the point of control. This entire node here, though, could run us, on both volume profiles. It's like a D-shaped distribution. Could run to like, the reason why this is a D-shaped distribution, guys, is it's pretty normally distributed, right? So one standard deviation is like right there. It's like 68% of all of the volume. So if we get to the edge of this one standard deviation, I'll be value area low. So that's what I'm looking at right now. See if it happens. I'm pretty green, so if it starts to go against me, I'll cut it.
Okay.
Cut it out.
Cut it out. All right. I would like to advertise. I'm going to share my screen, which I never do. Don't worry. I don't have hot trades.
You gotta hide all your special tabs though.
All right. Yes.
Don't want those to go live.
All right. Well, Marcy, will you swap my screen in? Producer Marcy. Can we get a W, Marcy, in the chat, by the way, for producer Marcy? Holding us down and keeping us moving. We have a shot at achieving 10,000 subscribers today. We're in the middle of week 4. We're 3.5 weeks into having our show. We've got a shot at achieving 10,000 subscribers today. This is the live subscriber count. If we do so, I am going to raffle off an autographed copy by myself of Trading for Dummies, 2nd edition. That's right. I will sign this and ship it directly to your house if we achieve our 10,000 subscriber count today, if you're not just getting enough out of Barbie and Forrest, this book will do it for you. So share, like, put it in your Discord, send it to your mom, your dad, your sibling. Yes. And we'll try to make it happen.
I want to point out that if every single person watching gets one person to subscribe, we're there.
We're there.
You just have to get one friend to take one for the team.
I will ship overseas. Yes, we can have Barbie sign it too, if that is requested by you. This is a vintage edition. I think this is from 2005. This is one of my OG ways that I learned how to trade. Yep. All right. We talked about ES. We talked about NQ. We talked about trading on an FOMC day. Every single day on this show, we not only give you free giveaways, which we will do when we get to 650 concurrent subscribers on our stream, but we also bring you the most interesting chart of the day. Barbie works hard to do this. Yesterday, we were talking about small cap stocks, something that you probably don't hear about on other streams. So Barbie, I'm going to send it over to you for the most interesting chart of the day, as we're about 6 minutes off the open.
Alrighty. Well, this is one that every single day I'm like, I should do gold. And then I find something else. So today we're finally doing gold. And the reason I wanted to do it today is because, well, we're at all-time highs. We've been at all-time highs a lot. So I could pull it every day saying, oh, we're at all-time highs on gold. But the reason I wanted to bring it up today on FOMC day is it's one that will move along with the rate announcement while the indexes do as well. But so like kind of the major structure. So the way the gold trades, we end up with this is the where am I on? I'm on the gold super trust. I meant to be on the gold futures. Hang on. They all kind of do the same thing, and if you pull it up small, you can grab the wrong one. So this is the way it's supposed to look without all those weird little gaps and things. So this is the main structure that I was looking at, where it had this bull flag that is breaking out. I love these kind of structures, but now we're kind of at that first level where, there were two highs. There was this high made up here before price was shot back down, and then it made a new high. So we're kind of at the top of that first reject candle. So gold is also kind of at an interesting spot. The indexes aren't at as interesting of a spot right now. But we could see this thing kind of come back down into some more support. There is a little bit of a gap level down here. So this is all still on the daily. So this is really good, strong levels. Technically, this wick kind of filled through it, but it didn't make it quite all the way. So there's that gap level right there on gold. So on the gold futures, 3322.3 to 3345.7 is where that gap is. So that would be probably, if you're bullish on gold, if you can get a buy in that area, that's probably something to look at. But so there that is on the hourly. If we kind of peel that down, then it kind of makes it look like there's a chance, right? And there's that breakout point. And so this is one that it'll probably chop going into FOMC as well. The indexes are likely to chop, gold is likely to chop, but then when it kind of breaks free, the way I look at the FOMC days is the market is stuck just in limbo waiting for something to happen, and once the FOMC is released, that'll kind of break the dam and let price move. So that'll be on the indexes, but it'll also be on gold. So it might be a day to kind of check that out. If you are, I do want to point this out though, if you're ever trading anything new to you, especially if you're just used to the indexes, ES and NASDAQ, you need a paper trade, because crude, gold, corn, Bitcoin futures, whatever else you're trading, they have kind of different personalities, and the way they trade is a little bit different. So definitely put it in paper so you can kind of get a feel for how quickly the moves can get you into profit or like rip your shorts off. So there's a good chart of the day, even though the indexes are so obvious on FOMC day. Don't forget about gold. Yeah, I said corn. Corn. But I don't know why that's a funny word.
Forrest, over to you. Gold. What role does gold play in your life, or maybe even specifically on an FOMC day?
Well, I got a gold chain on. So
Yeah, supposed to in your life, like let's bring it on, more gold.
Yeah, I'm setting out on the 7Cs looking for loot. No, I don't really watch gold too often.
I traded gold a little bit last year. Okay. I don't really. Funny enough, I actually was doing some TA on it recently. It looks like. Yeah, I don't really trade gold, to be honest. It was ranging nicely previously. I can't remember what time. I think it was ranging on the daily when I was trading it. It's very probable. Let's take a look. There was some moment in time where it was ranging. Here it was. So back at this time period, I mean, this was last year. I was trading gold in this daily range, just going short, long, short, long. Then we broke out, and I just stopped trading it because the easy money button turned off. Right now, I mean, it's close to its all-time high. You know, ostensibly, reasonably, you could muster that this is probably going to sweep this high and come back, a little retracement. If we get a really, really high volume, like engulfing, it could just keep running, right? We could get some parabolic just because of the macroeconomic environment right now. And gold is kind of seen as a hedge, right? Hedging vehicle. People get scared, they buy gold for whatever reason. You know, so there's that, but I don't really have a strong opinion on gold, to be honest. I trade it when there's like something there. It's super easy. I'll trade anything, honestly, though. If I see a setup, like if I come across a random ticker, and this will happen, like my community will like call out a random equity I've never looked at, and like if there's a set up there, I'll take it. But I don't really hunt around for these things. But yeah, that's my thoughts on gold. I don't really see anything here, to be honest, of too much relevance.
What would you mind taking a look at Bitcoin, Forrest?
Bitcoin, let's take a look.
Something that we do not often talk about on this show.
Look at Bitcoin futures, actually. So I do want to call out. So there's Bitcoin. Let's just put the two charts next to each other. Oh, we got 1 minute till the open. Okay. I'm gonna talk about this, but I'm gonna keep this chart open on the side. So Bitcoin, there's Bitcoin and there's Bitcoin futures, right? They have different volumes, different volume profiles. They're traded differently, just like all futures contracts, right? The actual futures contract, right? There are multiple contracts. For anybody new here, maybe this is news to you. Futures contracts have expirations like options, right? Because it's a contract that gives you the right to like transact X amount of something on a date, similar to an option. So you want to also make sure what contract you're on. Every contract has its own volume, okay? They're their own markets. All those disclaimers aside, what do we have on Bitcoin? Got to start on the daily, per usual. And we have this nice little W coming off the lows here. Zoom, zoom, right? W pattern is complete. We're chopping here. Let's see if we do a measured move back higher, right? So if I did like a quick little back of the napkin measured move, my shorts printing. Let's go. Let's go, baby. This will put us back up into these highs. I need to zoom out a little bit more, actually. Let's see. I need more of my volume profile in here. Get a solid read on this. So we have this node above that we're chopping into. Yeah, if we traverse this node, we could attack the highs here. If this fails, we're gonna do a, I mean, the Bitcoin club is not gonna like this. I could see us coming, like I could see this crashing way lower, possibly. But actually, that's probably the third probable outcome. All right, so we chop. This fails a little bit back into this node, comes up for the highs. I can see that. It's probably, you know, first or second most likely outcome. If this cracks the highs here, it's gonna rip. And then the third outcome is it fails hard, and we're gonna traverse this node down here, back down to like 64, 400 will be my third outcome. So,
Do you trade Bitcoin or Bitcoin futures?
sometimes I trade the daily. I like to get the Bitcoin on the daily, like really respects these nodes, and you can hold a trade on Bitcoin for like 3 days, and it'll just hit where you expect it to go.
The Bitcoin futures is one thing that I have not messed with, but I've been really wanting to.
I mean, it's a good chart. It is Bitcoin. So the one thing I don't like about Bitcoin in particular, or trading crypto, is the fact that like it can get hit with these random, just like massive moves out of nowhere, because it's not fundamentally tied to a business, right?
Mhm.
When you're trading futures,
Although the indexes can feel like that sometimes when we get a Trump tweet or something. So
it can, yeah. But there is like a floor. Like people, like the market could go to zero, but like it's kind of impossible. Like so long as a company makes money, like it has value. So like it's very unlikely.
that's true.
To go to zero.
It is
Bitcoin,
technically a risk.
yeah, crypto could like, at any point in time just dissolve technically. Will that happen? Probably not. But they're just fundamentally different for that reason.
I traded Bitcoin long ago, and then I mean, we're like, I sold when it was at 20,000 because I thought that was ridiculous, and I haven't really messed with it since. It moves a lot different than it used to.
Yeah, I don't trade like actual Bitcoin. Like I trade futures because I'm a futures trader, but like all of my actual crypto holdings, I just buy. Like I'm a buy and hold. I have a pretty substantial crypto portfolio. I literally just buy. I just been buying and buying and buying.
Yeah.
That's all I do. And 10 years, hopefully it'll be worth more than it is today.
What percentage of like your net worth do you have in crypto, Forrest?
Probably like 40.
Okay, so very significant.
That's pretty substantial.
I'm like 2. I did the schmuck insurance route. Like, all right, if Bitcoin's going to $1 million, at least I own a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Make $1 million, great. But I also sort of top ticked it. I bought my Bitcoin at 68,000 in 2021, 2022, whenever it, then crashed to 20K for 3 years. So I'm glad that we are where we are.
Yeah, I have I was up like at the last run, I was up like basically 7 figures on my crypto port. So, but I mean, obviously not now because it's pulled back, but yeah.
That's the way she goes.
H-bar is one of my biggest holdings, if anybody's curious.
What is that?
H-bar. It's Hedera hash graph. Look it up.
Why
I've
is
not
it?
heard of
All
that
right,
one.
we'll get back to futures in a second, but what makes it compelling?
So you have to think my background is I was in corporate software sales, right? So closing like multi-million-dollar deals. I know that the ins and outs of like buyers and global financial institutions, right? Were my primary customers. So I sold to a lot of the big banks in New York, all over the world and stuff like that. So I know how they work. And so when we talk about like enterprise adoption, you need not just tech, but relationships, right? Deals are done between people that like each other and know each other, right? So you need relationships. The people who created Hedera were like from that space. And so they know what the regulations are. They can have the coffee shop meetings outside of office hours and get stuff done. So I'm just bullish on it for that reason. Will it hit? Who knows? But I have a diversified portfolio, but I have a lot of H-bar as well, at least. But that's my quick little note on it.
Okay. Let's get back to trading in a second here. That said, we're closing in on the 650, which is where we'll do our giveaway. I do have some breaking news for the audience. I've got to ask this question first. If anybody out there has never purchased from MyFundedFutures before, can you put a 1 in the chat, please? If you've never purchased from MyFundedFutures before, can you please put a 1 in the chat? While I wait for those to come in or not come in, to give you a sneak preview of what's ahead, we're going to take a look at the open. We're going to ask Barbie to look at ES a few minutes off the open, Forrest to look at NQ a few minutes off the open. We are then going to go to our educational segment of the day. We have some free giveaways around the corner, and a very special guest joining us. But all right, there are a lot of people who put a 1 in the chat that indicate they've never purchased from MyFundedFutures before. I have something special to offer you all that I've wanted to offer for the past week here and finally can. I'm putting a link in the chat and a coupon code. A link in the chat and a coupon code. I'm going to spam it a few times. You who have never purchased before, to get started, can get 50% off of your first plan. That's right. You heard it here, folks. 50% off of your first plan. But wait, there's more. No activation fees. Fastest payouts in the industry. Trustworthy, transparent, objective, clear to go. So for only $48, you can get started. It's crazy. It's a crazy deal. Again, no activation fees. That's what makes it really spicy. So I'm putting the link in the code in the chat again as a welcome, a thank you for watching us on YouTube. I've got that very special deal for y'all. What do you guys think of that, my trader friends?
I think that's awesome.
Crazy, right? Some people are asking what plans. It's any plan. I would love to do an infomercial, by the way. I mean, that's like one of my dream jobs.
I think we should make it happen. You could totally do an MyFundedFutures infomercial.
All right. If I made a 25-minute infomercial, guys, would you watch it? Like, tack it on to the end of our stream. I've got like a long form. I'll be walking around, displaying stuff.
I'll watch it.
I think so.
Okay. Thanks, guys. You always have my back. All right, we're closing in on 10 minutes off the open. Barbie, I'm going to kick it over to you. How are we looking?
As expected, kind of boring. But the 31 level has been giving the sellers a little bit of trouble so far. There are a lot of buyers sitting there. I was kind of wondering if we're going to glue to this level at least for part of the day, and here we are kind of gluing to it. So we definitely could move lower off of here. Just kind of waiting and seeing, though. It is pretty quiet. I'm always kind of watching the volume. And so this first ES 5-minute candle had a little over 25,000 contracts traded, which it's the open. So that's a decent amount. But given that it's the open, it's not that impressive. So I think everything we talked about pre-market is kind of playing out here and is looking pretty slow. I will note, though, so we talk about doing iron condors when the market's slow to collect premium. And the reason it doesn't work on FOMC days is the implied volatility adds premium to the contract. So it's kind of like that little bit that you're able to pull out just gets replaced real quick.
Have you looked at establishing your, I guess you have to be pretty wide, but setting up your condor like 2 days before?
I've back tested 1 DTEs and 2 DTEs, and the most reliable, or I guess the most leveraged plays that I've been able to come up with are the 0 DTEs, and it's just not going to work. So I have been playing with, I'm trying to back test some 1 DTEs right now on kind of a similar strategy, but it might be the same deal where if anytime I was trading today's contracts, I'm going to expect just some added premium coming into FOMC. It's just like when you're coming into earnings and you get that implied volatility. That's what makes the pre-earnings move. If you can be right-ish on a pre-earnings move with options, you can kind of collect premium just for being in the right, being there while the premium's getting juiced on those contracts.
Definitely, yeah.
Chat is saying we hit your level on chat on views.
Well, before that, Forrest, anything that you want to call out with NQ? I know there's not a crazy amount.
Keeping us on task.
I'm watching both. So I did trail. I'm watching to see if I was contemplating reversing, but I did not. It's probably too late now if we come back to POC. So yeah, if we come all the way up to the point of control, this is going to start that chop that I was talking about. We did get a little baby node down here, right? We didn't get all the way. We traversed a lot of this node. So we look at yesterday's distribution. Okay, where are all the people? Okay, so we got through a lot of them. There's some lower. I still could see this because my thesis on the day, my narrative of the day is that I expect this to start to chop. I don't want to hold necessarily too long. Okay, right? Especially off of this action yesterday. There's a few things in this thesis as well. Yesterday ES failed to sweep that low. So NQ did that prior day low sweep that I mentioned. ES failed, and then we had this nice strong kind of reversal. We see ES got very close, but it failed, right? So this is still an open low for me down here that I'm looking for the market to get after either, eventually. It's untapped though, right? So technically we have divergences in the indices between higher low and a lower low, right? They're different right now. So I need those to sync up, and until they sync up, you can expect chop. And then on the lower time frames, or really just today, we also have FOMC. So there's a lot of reasons for it to be kind of wonky. But yeah, we see it is reacting to that previous POC. It's coming back. And yeah, as we get closer to lunchtime here, I'm expecting it to get a little choppy. If I'm wrong, which I'm always open to, I'd rather be wrong, honestly, so I can get some trades in. I'll take them, right? But so it's not like I'm so stuck to like it has to chop, or like my reputation is tied to this thing chopping. Honestly, don't care what you guys think of me.
Well, that's why you have your different scenarios. So you have this is what makes us bullish. This is what makes us bearish. This is what makes us chop.
Exactly. I also lied. I do care what you guys think of me. I was that's my ego talking. But more importantly, you don't have to be stuck to a plan, right? You don't have to be stuck to a plan, but you have to have a plan per Barbie's point, so that you know what to do when, like, say scenario A fails, scenario B presents itself. You've already thought of scenario B. You're not trying to figure it out in real time, right?
I need that plan because in the heat of the moment, I can kind of I get stupid sometimes. It's like, oh, it's coming up to this thing. What do I do? And then look at my notes. Oh, at this level, this is what I'm looking for. I have to actually have it written down in front of me, but yeah.
Yep, there's that mean reversion right there. So we'll probably come back up to 56, 59, 75 on ES and go to NQ. I don't remember what chart I'm on anymore. Same thing on NQ. Probably come back to that point of control for retest, 19,993. So not a bad little, my hip opening scalp for the day.
Woo! Your hip?
Getting old.
You broke a hip trading? Come on.
Dang.
Yo, remember Family Guy when he just starts rolling around in pain for like 8 minutes though?
One of my favorite things about that show is just how you'll be watching and there's some plot, and then all of a sudden there's just 2 minutes of something completely random.
Some bit that goes on forever. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I will say the last thing that I will say is on ES and in Q, there is this trend line above. Okay, it's a little less exact on NQ, but on ES, it's pretty nice, right? And ES again is my leader, right? Even though I trade NQ, I think for whatever reason, I don't really have a good reason. ES, whenever I take a trade based off what ES is telling me, it doesn't fail. Can't be said for NQ. So I'm waiting for ES to finish its story. Once we sweep this low or this high is really what I'm looking for. But
that could be kind of frustrating. I know I get frustrated when I'm waiting for one market to make a move that I want both of them to make. But you just hold patient, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind so much. Like, I don't know. I have a lot going on. I run this business, so like every day, like once I get off here, I'm like, then before I know it, it's 2:00. So it's not too bad.
All right. Should I give the people what they want?
You absolutely should.
All right. Should we do some free accounts?
Ho.
Is it a wild Wednesday?
I love free accounts.
Woo!
Free day.
All right, guys. The rules are you must be a subscriber to be eligible for free accounts. We're giving out free accounts. You must be a subscriber in order to be eligible for the free accounts. I'm going to hang out for a second and give you all a chance to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Again, I'll remind you that if you've never purchased with MyFundedFutures before, you're a new user. I'm putting a link in the chat with a coupon code, which is YouTube, that will give you 50% off of any plan, no activation fee. It just gets better and better on this show every day. Crazy. All right, that link is in the chat. I gave you some time to subscribe to the channel. These are going to be for free Starter Plus accounts. Free Starter Plus accounts. 50 of you out there are going to win totally free accounts, no strings attached. Be ready. Code is going on the screen now. There it is. Road to 10K. Woo! We're doing it today. Road to 10K. We're 200 more subscribers away from hitting that 10K. Road to 10K to celebrate us getting there. 50 of you are winning free Starter Plus accounts. If you got it, if you are a big winner, drop it in the chat. Give some encouragement to your fellow traders out there. Cody got it. Oh, yeah. Oh, a lot of people got it.
Let's go.
Code road to 10K. If you didn't get it, don't worry. I'm going to put a link in the chat with the code, again, YouTube. This would be if you've already been a customer. I can offer you 20% off of your Starter Plus account. So if you were not a big winner, give a nice little round of congratulations to your friends out there. But know that you can use code YouTube to get 20% off of your Starter Plus account. All right. I'm just reading these comments coming in.
I'm watching to make sure lots of people got it. Whoa, did we just have some news come in?
Breaking news, 50% off new users. Is that what you're
That's got to be it. I don't see anything else.
All right.
Let's angry candle.
I'm going to set the next level. 800. We're doing another round of giveaways at 800 viewers. So share away. We are going all the way to 11:30 today Eastern. So you got plenty of time. It'll be resets, but I need you to get me to 800. And Barbie, let's take a look at what is the news. What's going on?
I was looking for news. I think it's just the market doing market things on FOMC day because we kind of end up with these little air pockets. But I know Forrest was looking for a move lower, so hopefully he's still printing on this. I've just not seen anything clean enough to get into yet, so I'm not having any fun. I want in on this party too, but we may not get it today. I was just noticing this candle. We had the first. My voice is going out for y'all. I work my voice so hard for y'all. But I was watching the opening range. So we had the first 3 candles, and then this fourth one just retraced basically all 3 of those real quick. So that's what caught my attention. When you think about it, so that was a 10-point candle. So it's not like, actually it's more than a 10-point candle. But I'm just looking for any excitement right now too.
Yeah, that candle is getting a little wonky. It's getting choppy. I don't honestly. This is the reason why I don't trade.
Yeah, this is why. Is it gets weird, and the market will just eat stops when it wouldn't normally.
This setup right here. Let me see. What is this? The width of this node. Yeah, these nodes are pretty close together. This thing it looks almost like a continuation pattern. But this could just do like that fast candle we saw. It could just do a fast candle like back up as well. And once you have binary outcomes where it's just 50-50, that's like a huge sign in your brain to like not trade, right? Where it's like any outcome is possible, and you're just like, well, I could do this or that. You don't really have a strong bias on the next candle. You know, again, chop. That's where you just hands off. So I'm not like that. If you guys see a candle like that and some of you are in the chat and like, oh crap, I got to reverse, or oh crap, I got to like, no, wrong. You got to do, that's a sign to do nothing.
Chill. Yeah.
Yeah. Chill.
That's what I was just looking. I was trying to see if we're going to break the 15-minute range there, which would be around 56.48. But that's exactly where it rejected. The market's just not having it today. It just doesn't want to move. But that does make tons of sense, not wanting to move. before the big data. Although I keep pointing this out, a few years ago it was a surprise if we were going to get the rate changed or not, and now it's not so much a surprise. It's whether it'll be the remarks. We've had a lot of remarks in the press conference that follows the rate. So
I actually don't think there were any surprises. I think people's interpretation kept changing. People wanted it to be surprising, but Jay Powell was like, "I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it."
That's true.
The news kept saying maybe he'll change his mind this time, and it's just like the guy has been very consistent.
Years.
Yeah, so I think that's funny.
Everyone wants drama. That's for sure.
Yeah. There's a question I just grabbed out of the chat. I actually saw it yesterday. I'll answer it today. During high impact news, you can see multiple huge gaps on the seconds time frame. If the market is an auction and people are participating at all times, how does that happen? All right. So your question is fundamentally flawed, right?
Not again.
That's a good question. People are participating at all times, but they're not participating at all prices, right? Let's imagine we have a market with just Barbie and I, okay? And she wants to sell me something. I want to buy whatever she's selling, right? Her hat. She wants to get rid of one of her.
My tinfoil hater hat.
Right. And I say, hey, Barbie, I'll buy it for 50. So we see the market light up, right? We see a buy for 50. She's willing to sell it for 200, right? So there's a sell side for 200 and there's a buy for 50. Nobody else exists. The market is just Barbie and I. Okay. So if somebody else comes in, a third actor comes in and transacts at 200, you have 3 participants. You'll see an order at 50 and you'll see a transaction at 200 between those people, right? And let's assume that someone else comes into the market that also has a hat and they meet me at 50. So now we have 4 participants, 2 transactions, one at 200 and one at 50. Okay. The real market is the same across millions of people, right? So you're only going to see transactions where people are, but people don't, the market can skip prices all day, guys. It's a very real thing. When we say something is liquid, what we're actually saying is we're talking about the likelihood of that not happening. So the benefit of trading futures is that it's exceptionally liquid, and you won't see these price skips that often, very rarely or at all, unless you go super low time frame. If you trade other products, whether it's thinly traded equities or if you trade options, you'll see stuff like that all the time, right? Because you're going to meet, people have to meet to make the market, right? And that's also why market makers exist, is to fill those gaps. So without going on for an hour, the reason you see those jumps is because that's what's happening. That's where things are actually being transacted at. So just wanted to talk about that. It's important, especially as you start trading more things and get deeper into your trading journey. It was not, everything isn't as liquid as futures.
That's a good point.
All right. The time is 9:55 a.m. Eastern. We are on our march to 10K subscribers. We're 200 off. I set the next level at 800 for another round of giveaways. But before I do so, I'd like to bring our very, 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 very special guest on to celebrate some giveaways for us. He is the Vibe King. I don't know if he'd refer to himself as that, but he brings the smiles. He brings the energy up on this wild, wild Wednesday that we're in. Does that sound okay? Can I bring him on for the giveaway?
Let's do it.
All right. Tyler, Mr. TG himself.
I'm back, baby.
Let's go. How are we feeling today?
Guys, I feel like you could see me a lot better this time too. I got the lighting right. Like last time, because I was looking over the footage, I looked very blurry. So now I got this super professional ring light, and now we're ready for action.
Next time, no, just text me before. Tyler texted me this morning. He's like, yo, I'm on the show. I was going to tell you, dude, just come to the studio.
Yeah, I texted Forrest this morning because we actually, I think a few weeks ago, we went to dinner and then we were just discussing, I wanted to go to his studio and pop in on the live stream, come in the back and be like, hey, surprise. But I'm glad you guys DM'd me on Twitter and I was excited to come on the stream.
Whew, making it happen. Well, Tyler, before we get to charts, before we get to levels, we get to trades, the setups, etc., Would you like to celebrate a round of giveaways with us?
I would love that. I would love
Love
nothing
it?
more than that.
All right. How do free resets sound?
That sounds fantastic.
All right. The rule, there's only one rule to the free resets, which
All right,
is
let's
you
hear it.
must be a subscriber on this YouTube channel to be eligible to win. Again, if you are here and you want to get some free resets, you must be a subscriber on this
That
YouTube
seems like
channel.
a very small ask. All you got to do is subscribe. You want a free reset? Just hit that button. Very simple.
Boom. That's it.
Boom.
I'm giving you the countdown. I'm stalling right now, guys. I'm stalling so that way nobody has any excuse that they didn't have time to be a subscriber on the channel. All right.
Let's go, guys. Hit that button and you could have a chance at a reset. Let's go.
All right, let's light it up. Tyler, I'm gonna put the code on the screen and I'm gonna ask you to read what the code is to us, okay?
Okay.
All right, 50 of you are winning free resets right now. Code is on the screen now.
Okay, you guys ready? It's FOMC 50.
FOMC 50.
Run. Do it as fast as you can. Get in there. You got to go quick.
Boom. And if you got it, drop it in the chat that you got it. Give some encouragement to your fellow traders.
Let's go,
out there.
baby. Free reset. Nothing better.
Nothing better.
This doesn't mean you go out and gamble like an animal, okay? Still stick to your risk management. Just because you get the free reset doesn't mean you could go all willy-nilly. I don't want to hear that. It's not a reason.
I'm not the only one who says, "Oh, willy-nilly."
You can't be doing that. You got to stick to your rules here. What are we doing?
Willy-nilly.
All right.
You see that?
I
free
keep catching
reset?
myself
All right, I'm
saying
full
that in my
marching
editing.
FOMC right now.
And Tyler's with me. He says it too.
All right, and I'm going to make an ask to like the stream. If you haven't liked it yet, it's just a shame. Like the stream. Help us
like
out.
If you're not liking it, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing here?
Why
no
do you want to
point
free
if you're not liking
anything
it.
if you don't like the stream?
It's a small ask.
Tyler, can I ask you to share your screen, please, sir?
Yes. Let me figure out how to do this again. Present, I hit,
That's you.
and then share. Oh, wait, hold on.
Share window.
Present,
Thanks.
Share screen.
Yeah.
Let me get my trading view up. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Screen.
NQ still pushing back up to this POC, by the way. A little background chatter for you guys.
Yeah.
Little background
Yard.
chatter.
Okay, let me know if you can see it.
We got it. It's coming. There it is. Oh, we need to get. We're almost there.
There it is.
So I'm in this. I don't like anything on NQ right now, just because I don't like this price action. It's not my favorite. We had a lot of consolidation here during London, and then we had this big fair value gap print. We broke structure. I'm thinking we come down. This is a huge range here. You got to see this. This is a huge candle. So right now, I wouldn't be interested in shorts due to the fact that we're in an area of discount. So you would really be interested in shorts up here in premium. So to short something down here now, for me, it's not something I would even be interested in looking at. So for me, NQ is off the table. I'm not even trading it today. And that's okay. You don't need to trade every day. So right now on gold, what I see is that we had this fair value gap print during London session. We had this strong wick rejection here from this candle. We had a pretty bullish engulfing candle here. And now I'm hoping that we can get back to this area of premium, because this was a huge candle here last night that I saw. And I'm thinking that we come up here back into this range to probably fill this fair value gap here, at least to the 50%. So that's the trade that I'm in on right now. I'm currently floating $600, and my stops are break even. If it stops me out, then that's it. But that's the only trade that I'm interested in today. I feel like volume is really going to be lacking because they're going to be waiting till 2 o'clock. That's really when you're going to see the most amount of volume. There's probably going to be a lot of heavy consolidation going on and a lot of not the best price action, just because that FOMC news is really when the volume is going to come into the market. So that's the only play that I'm currently looking at right now. and just staying patient. You know, you don't need to get into a trade every single day. Some days you're going to be just an observer in the market, and you got to be okay with that. You know, I really would only be interested in executing. This isn't even really an A++ setup for me. So I don't have the biggest risk on for this trade. So whatever happens, I'm okay with. I'm currently at break even. So if it stops me out at BE, that's it. But I'm totally cool with just watching today. And
Tyler,
everyone else who's watching the stream now, you have to be okay with that as well. You know that there's going to be huge volatility coming in at 2 o'clock. So you know there's going to be a lot of manipulation going on in the market right now. You know, so that's pretty much where I'm at right now with technical analysis. And we're just going to see how it plays out. That's it.
Tyler, what are your rules for setting your stop at break even versus kind of leaving your original bracket? Like when do you move it?
So right now, it actually has a lot to do with just the news and what's going on today, is that I just don't want to be involved in the market and putting myself at any inherent risk that I just don't need to. Typically, I won't trail my stops, but for this trade specifically, I am, because it's, like I said, it's not an A+ setup for me. It's a decent setup, but I would rather not have any risk on anymore. I'm up, you know, a decent amount of profit, $600 across my account. So I'd rather just, if it's going to stop me out, I'm okay with that. Normally, I'm not trailing my stops because, especially on gold, I'll get a lot of like a liquidity wick and it'll just be a false move. But like I said, as for the red folder news, like high impact news day like today, I'm going to, you know, taper my risk and tailor my trading according to that red folder news today. So that's basically why I'm doing it. Typically, I don't, just because based off of my back testing. But today is a special situation just because of the high volatility that's going to be coming in at 2 o'clock.
Barbie, what do you have for Mr. Tyler?
I was very distracted over here by 100 other things. But so you're saying that you're fine not taking trades on FOMC day. Do you avoid the statement time in the afternoon?
Yeah, I'm not going to go and play that. That's crazy. That's just like,
crazy.
why? It's like, for what? I'm not going to go and play that news, especially at 2 o'clock. It's like that anything could happen. I would have had to be in on a play already that already was established. Do you understand? Like I would already had to been on a trade. Like I'm not going to go until 2 o'clock and be like, all right, now I'm going to go take a play. No way.
I will cut anything that I have going on at 2 unless it was meant. Well, I guess it would kind of be a gamble. If I have a lotto going on it, that would be in options though, because I don't want to try to exit futures.
Based on my fundamental news for me is just a driver of the technical analysis. So whatever the play is, the TA, the fundamental news is just going to give you the volatility for that to play out.
So you're going to watch what levels you get off of the news and what
exactly. And
what that
I
sets
really
up.
want to see us come into this gap here, because this is just such a huge candle, and especially gold is just so incredibly bullish right now. And I really think that, and this is just a huge range. Like I was in on a swing trade actually from the previous day, and I cut the trade here. Actually, I got out perfect timing. I didn't want to hold it, and we had this huge candle here, which seems to me like it may just be like a minor pullback, just because I really think that gold wants to test those all-time highs again. And for this move is just such a huge imbalance in the market that I'm thinking that we have to come up and at least come and test this range. And as you can see right now, we're in discount. So I took this trade in discount from this range, from the high here to this low here in Asian. This is a good place to long, because for us to we're not even at equilibrium yet of this range. So I'm thinking that, you know, with the news, we can come and test up into this 50% at least of this range. And that would be a huge trade for me. And I'm okay with taking profits there. So that's my play for the day. If it doesn't work out, it's okay.
Can you talk about like when do you decide to take profit, Tyler? Like
so normally I don't like being into it. I like to normally, for my futures accounts, I typically like to get out of the market at like 12 o'clock, because after New York lunch, I see that price action gets a little weird and it's not in my favor anymore. So that's really when I like to just get out. I like to just get in when I have the volatility, catch like, you know, the daily expansion until 12 o'clock. And then when volume is slowly dying out, I'll get out. So based on my edge in the market, I usually will be done with the trade by like 11:30, 12 o'clock. I'll catch the move for the day. And that's plenty for me. I'm in and out.
Question that Forrest picked out of the chat. it reads as follows. I know he's using kill zones. Is he also using the 50 EMA, WEWAP, and SMA?
No, I don't. So the EMAs that I do use is, okay, I'll point it out here. So here, this is a Bollinger Band. So I created like my own settings on it. And basically this is the 200 EMA. And then this structure here on the Bollinger Band will just show you that if we're out trading outside of it, we're in a strong bullish market, but it can turn out that we could end up turning around because we're highly overextended. So I just use that to build a confluence in my trades. So these EMAs here are smaller time frame EMAs. So this is like a 9, a 15, and a 21. So I just use that for smaller time frame trends. And normally I'm looking to just, trade with this trend. See, like that's why this isn't exactly an A+ setup with me, is because I would like to take a trade when you see how all these EMAs, like I have the 9 stacking on top of the 15, which is on top of the 21, which is on top of the this is a 5, a 9, a 15, and a 21. They're all stacking. They're not intertwined like they are here, which doesn't make this an A+ setup for me, which is why I reduced the risk on the trade. So normally I'm more of just I'm executing my trades in London and I'm looking to ride the trend and catch the daily expansion for the day. That's really where I'm at. I really like to see I'm catching the volatility and the trend in the market. I'm not trying to go counter trend. I just want to, the trend is your friend, like they say, and I know it sounds stupid, but that's what works for me. And as you're seeing here, I also had this other indicator that I use. It's called, I'll even pull it up. It's a bull trading indicator. And actually a guy that I used to work with showed me it. And I was like, you know what? This shows strong momentums of candles. So as you can see here, these candles, when you're in a strong bullish market, they're going to print green. You see how they're closing green here? These candles are closing a darker blue and a red, which shows me that the market structure isn't as strong and that the candles aren't printing as strong bullish. So now this also, I will identify this as a lower probability setup. So that's also a huge thing for me, is I use the colors of these candlesticks to show me if we're in a stronger trending bullish market, or if we're in a consolidation, or if we're in a bearish market. But mostly when I trade, I'm only looking for longs. I'm a long bias trader. I'm so bad at shorting the market. I stay away from it. I'm garbage at it. So I don't do it. I'm just the absolute worst. Just based on my edge and me back testing, every time I'm short, I'm like wrong. So I just entirely stay away from shorting.
You're way too glass half full, I guess.
I am. I don't know what it is. It's just the way I see the market. I see it better from a long bias standpoint. Shorting, I don't know, something about it. I'm just not good at. So I stay away from it. And I'll just
do the inverse chart.
Yeah, literally. I got to do like an inverse chart. I
No,
know.
it actually works. I that's something like, because I had the I can't remember when it was, but there was a period of time where like my performance was really one-sided on shorts versus longs. I can't remember if it was longs versus shorts or shorts versus longs, but yeah, if you just flip your chart upside down, it's option I on Mac. I don't know what it is.
I didn't even know you can do that.
Yeah. It really will kill that bias.
Because I'm with you. I want to see the positive and I want to be glass half full. I've got enough crap going on. I'm stressed out. I've got problems. I've got all this other stuff. I don't want to be focusing on that. I want to look at the positive. And I think that's why it's easier for me to trade longs. I have played with that inverse before.
I'm going to try it and see how I like it. Yeah, but I don't fix what's not broken. And, I made most of my money longing. So I stick to that and I don't go against it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're good at it and it works.
Yeah. And
what was that indicator?
What was that indicator again? The market. So now I'm just focusing solely on these A+ setups, and I'm cool with, waiting and staying patient and taking advantage of those bigger moves, especially with MyFundedFutures, because now I don't have a consistency rule and I can let my winners run. It's just, and I tell everybody this, it's the best prop firm because it literally gives you true freedom. Like you don't have to adhere to all these ridiculous rules that all these firms have. And I stand by that. And I actually I was sticking to the 50Ks, but I was like, you know what? I kind of want to I bought a 150K expert because I wanted to have a little bit more so I could throw some more size on. So that's really what I'm focusing on right now. And I want to go for like a huge payout on 150K. So I'm working on passing that right now. And I want to go for like a mega payout with 150K and build the buffer in my account and really put some size on the trades. And having the no consistency rule and passing in one day, it's just like, what more do you want? And not to mention, I got my payout, and literally, no joke, from when it got approved to in my Rise account was less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like, what more do you want in a firm? I really don't know.
All right.
Rub my shoulders a bit. I'm kind of tense, but aside from that, nothing else, man.
That's all a guy can ask for: reliability, good rules, and a good trading environment. That's all you need.
All right, Tyler.
Yes.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, let me hear it.
All right, new users.
Oh.
This is a deal only for our YouTube viewers and affiliates. New users get 50% off of any plan and no activation fees.
Oh, any plan, expert plans?
Any plan, baby.
That's savage, guys. What more do you want? Let's go. We getting the code? Let me give the people the code here.
All right, I'm dropping the link in the chat. Code is YouTube.
Code's YouTube, guys. You thought the free resets was good? This is some good stuff.
Yeah, baby.
I recommend the expert plans, guys. They're my favorite. Passing one day, no consistency. To each his own, but I think they're the best. So especially if you're going to get 50% off, go for it.
Let's go. Tyler, you talked about trading, or at least looking at London. What time do you get going in the morning?
3 a.m. 3 a.m.
No
every
way.
day. Yeah, I know. It's
And
crazy.
you're looking at your computer at 3 a.m.?
Of course. I have to.
What time do you go to bed?
9. Sometimes.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I'm up early. I like to go to bed early. So sometimes I go to bed 9, 10, and then I'll get up at 3. And if I don't see anything, I go back to bed. I'm not just up. So I'll analyze the market and I'll be able to tell right away. It's like if I'm interested in a trade or not. And then I'll just go back to sleep. Or if I'm up and I'm in the trade, I'm monitoring it. And then I'll probably go to the gym. I'm not staring at the screen and monitoring the trade. I'll let the trade run. I'll go to the gym and then I'll come back and see how we're playing out. And then usually sometimes in the afternoon, I'll take a nap, like 1 o'clock, because I'm usually done trading by like 11:30, 12. So then I'll take a nap and then I'm good to go.
One of my favorite things about trading is how we can get it all done in the morning.
Yeah, it's the best. You get your whole day done, and then you're like, I'm like sitting at 10 o'clock, and that's why I usually jump
You're
into
not going to get me out of bed at 2 a.m. So
yeah, there's nothing better. You wake up on your own time. You got no boss. I'm cool waking up at 3 if I don't have to answer to anyone. I'm my own boss, so waking up at 3 is good for me.
Being my own boss is not being up at 3
and go work construction. I'd be upset.
But yeah, all the respect for you. But yeah, that's early. You're after. I like that session. I've always been interested in that London Open. It is just too early for me.
It's so clean though. That's why I stick to it.
It's nice that you're in Eastern too. So like the farther west you go, the harder it is to get up for that session. At a point, you're staying up.
So I am a little bit lucky, but 3 a.m. is still rough. I don't know.
3 a.m. is crazy.
It's rough.
I have nights where I'm still partying at 3 in the morning. I mean, that's
oh yeah. Well, those days are behind me. You know, I'm done. I don't really party anymore. I had my fun. I don't even like going out like that anymore. I'm more of like a dinner guy, and then like be in bed by like 10, or like go to like a day party and then be in bed by like 8. That's more my speed.
Day party, yes. There's nothing wrong with a good day.
Yeah, when me and Forrest went to dinner, they were like, they wanted to go smoke cigars after. It was like 11 o'clock. I was like, oh.
I was too late.
He went home, but I ended up going. So I was like, all right, because it was like a once in a lifetime like dinner to be around these people that were in the industry. I was like, I gotta just stay out. But Forrest was like, he goes, oh, I'm gonna come, and then last one he goes, you know what? I changed my mind. Don't go to bed.
My old man kicked in, dude. I was like, nah.
I know. I was tired though. At that point, I was like, I gotta go to bed.
Tyler, could you flip another chart or two for us?
Yeah.
And just explain to us how you look at it.
Okay. See, so right now on gold, I probably got stopped at break even. Because we had this big push up. I went break even and I got stopped here. So I'm out of that trade.
Okay.
Let's see here. We have NQ pushing back up. I just don't like any of this. Like, this isn't any price action I would trade. It's just not like the consolidation in London this is horrible. Like, if you're trading any part of this, you can't. Come on. You just got to stay out of this. It's not good price action right now.
Yeah, it's gonna chop.
It's just nothing good to analyze. I have no interest in any of this right now. I'm simply just watching. Like you could see here, we had this fair value gap here. We had a wick rejection, change of character. It's just, I don't know. It could go either way. It's because NQ is super bullish right now for me on a higher time frame. So shorting it, I would have to be, okay, for me to be interested in shorting NQ right now, I would have to be below the 200 EMA. So I'm not even interested in shorting this. So my short bias, there is none. I would only be looking for longs.
Well, we'd have to inverse your chart for you.
Yeah, but then that would defeat the whole purpose of it.
Yeah.
I'm looking here. So we closed a pretty high volume bottom wick here on NQ, and the POC is higher at 995. That's a very that's not even a trade that I would take. But in terms of price action, if you just want to talk about what I think will happen, we might go and retest that price. But overall, I mean, if you zoom out to even the 2 hour, it's just chop.
Yeah, I don't like this price action.
We're holding over the 15-minute range on ES now, though, and we have the flow is bullish, and I don't expect that to hold all day. I think it can change. It might hold all day, but I think that that's temporary for the morning. But I am watching that. The market is buying right now.
I just don't like any of this. All the price action
doesn't mean you have to trade it. There is that too. Just because the market
I'm good with
is
sitting
doing
on my
something.
hands and waiting. I got stopped at break even, so it is what it is.
And
there's always another day tomorrow. I really the price action is just garbage today. It's bad.
You have to know your strengths and weaknesses as a trader, and a lot of people do not have a strength on FOMC days. You can pick up some things, but it's not always.
You have to know why the market's doing what it's doing. It's building liquidity. It's going to have it's going to save the volume for that 2 o'clock news. It's going to be chopping all day.
Yeah.
So it's just better to stay out.
I'd like to ask a question to the chat. Do you have a trade on? If you have a trade on, just let us know what it is in the direction. We'll talk about it a little bit. But again, I mean, we spent the past almost 90 minutes here talking about the chop that we get on these types of days. I'm curious if you have the trade on. Tyler, Barbie, Forrest, we asked a question to the chat as well about their bias for the day. 50% said they were bullish, 25% bearish, and 25% said IDGAF. Thoughts on that?
I'm watching the chat here too. I see a lot of. I think more people are long, but flat is a position too. So if y'all are flat, you can say flat.
Yeah, I got no bias.
My hip.
Like higher time frame bias, long, but as far as intraday, nothing. Yeah, I don't like it.
I have a hard time when I'm feeling like the market wants to surge and I'm waiting for that news, because I could also be completely dead ass wrong too. So I'm just, I'm trying to kind of set up on where we could possibly be going Thursday and Friday. So if we're bullish today, where are we going to end up going Thursday and Friday?
Right.
I'm in a really far out the money strangle, strangle that I've been in for a few days. Just essentially since we entered this high here weekly. So
I was kind of thinking about that coming into the meeting today.
Yeah,
but probably something longer dated than this week, to be honest. Because here's the other thing. Trump has announced that he's going to be making a very big announcement. It's going to be huge, the biggest ever, and it's going to be on Thursday, Friday, or Monday.
Oh boy.
So there's that.
Yeah, that's always dangerous.
Oh,
it's going to be on Thursday, Friday, or Monday. So
yeah, we don't know. It's a gamble.
Or Monday.
But it's going to be big. It's going to be huge.
Huge.
Big if true.
Yeah, as soon as that guy sneezes and the market moves.
Tyler, one more for you. What size candles do you look at?
What time frame?
Yeah.
So for futures, I have three or four different entry models, but so for one of them is I'm analyzing the 30-minute and the 15. At 9:30, I'll look for, so sometimes I'll trade the 9:50 to 10:10 macro, and I'll look for an inversion setup on a 2 or 5 minute. That's one of my really strong plays too, because 9:30, sometimes you'll get a manipulation, and then I'll catch an inversion setup like long or short. during the macro, which is a time where price is going to want to seek liquidity and a lot of volume is going to be injected into the market. So that's also another setup that I use. So, and then I have one more that I use during London session open, which is another inversion setup. So I basically, my strategy is tailored around trading fair value gaps. I'm really, really strong at trading fair value gaps. And when I went through ICT's mentorship, like there's a ton of different ways that you could trade the market and use his models. I was never good at using breakers or order blocks. I just knew that I was good at analyzing fair value gaps. So that's what I stuck with. And that's what worked with me. So, and then I tailored that to what my other strengths are in the market is that I'm good at trading trends. I like trading London session. Like all of this stuff is that I made a culmination into this really powerful strategy. And then I created the model and I refined it deeper and deeper and deeper based on certain candlesticks. And I've had my win rate become really, really high. And then that's when I really started scaling and growing in my trading is when my model was good and I had all the data. And then that's what I tell everybody is you have to have all these things and you have to write it down because look, I'll show you.
Showing us.
I showed this previously, but this is my book. Like all of my here. I'll show
Is there any specific like type of book or journal that you have, Tyler?
It's just I don't know. I got it off Amazon. It looked
Paper.
cool. So this looked like old school, so I was like, all right, this one's cool, so I bought it. So this is like here. I write all my strategies down. So this is a 30-minute London strategy. Here's futures entry model right here. Look, it says I'm looking for an entry from 3 a.m. to 3:15. Like everything is written out here. Like 3 a.m. candle, bullish fair value gap, followed by I call it a Triton pattern, respecting the 50% of the fair value gap. Like you need to have all this information written down. Like I'm a psychopath. Like all of this is in here. Bottom Bollinger Bands, bearish bias, like everything is here. All of my analysis, everything that I needed to be profitable is in this book. So
love it, bro. No, I love the attention to detail. Like people, like we get on here, especially as like YouTube traders and we're entertaining, but like the common theme for every profitable trader is you got to be crazy about tracking your performance, having your setups.
You have to be like delusional. Like this is like, it requires you to be like super like OCD and just meticulous. Everything matters. How a candlestick closes, at what time. I put everything in this book. So, and that
I even have a printer. I print out charts. I
used to do that and I would write on them and then paste them on
That's
the wall.
what I do. These are my playbooks. I have charts that go along with all my.
And that's what's going to make you successful. That's the difference. That what it takes to become profitable. You're going off. I want to tell everyone this who's watching. Just because, and I have a video coming out on how I trade, but just because how I trade, somebody else won't be able to replicate that because they won't have the time that I had behind the charts to analyze my setups, to see what I see. I have hundreds of hours back testing on the charts, and you can't teach somebody that. You have to.
Well, a lot of people don't feel like putting in that work, but I agree with you that it's absolutely essential, and it makes it's the make or break for a trader. Are you just going to use other people's ideas and other people's trades, or are you going to use those ideas from other people and go make your own trades and back test it yourself?
You have to. You have no choice. You have to do this. You're going to become stagnant in your progress. If you are, decently profitable doing that, there's going to come a time where the markets are ever changing, and you're going to have to make refinements to your model. Like all of this, you have to tailor it to yourself. Everybody's psychology is different and how they approach the markets. I'll never see the market the same way Forrest does or Barbie does. It won't happen. This is an individual sport, an individual game, and you have to know what your strengths are. And I wrote what my strengths and my weaknesses are in the market in this book, and I strictly stuck to that. And then I took, what I learned from ICT and what I learned from other people, and, based on what I use with my indicators, and I made this this system work for me. And that's what each and every one of you have to do. You have to go and do this. It's crucial. You will not see the growth that you want to see in the markets and as a trader if you don't do this. Once I started doing this, I tell you right now, I made my first 6 figures, and I did it in a month. And then the month after that, I made another 6 figures. So this is what changed everything for me.
A big part of that too, as well, is like I love journaling, and I was highly disorganized before I became a trader, by the way, guys. Right, like all my organization, I'm like super organized now, was a means to an end of profitability. But part of what writing all this stuff down does for you is like, instead of waking up and having to figure out what to do every day, you've got 1 or 2 plans. Like my plan every day is basically the same. So I don't have to figure out what to do today. Like we're saying, like, what are we going to do on FOMC? It's like, I've already solved it. What am I going to do tomorrow? I've already solved it. What I'm going to do on Friday? I've already solved it. So like, so many of you are waking up every day and you're like, oh, what do I
That's
even
hard
do?
mode. They're doing it in hard mode.
Yeah. So
Well,
like,
you don't have a
Let's do it in
plan. You don't
easy
have an
mode.
edge. You're coming in the market. You're like, all right, what's going to go on today? It's like, I come to the market. I look for the same thing every single day. If it's not there, I do not trade. If you're getting happy and emotional when you're in your trades, you know why? It's because you're gambling. If I'm in a trade and I get stopped, or if I'm in a trade and I make 6 figures, the emotions are the exact same. You got to understand that, because you have a system. If you don't, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to go full port FOMC right now, and I'm going to pass my eval, and I have the free reset. Newsflash, that's not going to be sustainable for you at all. You know?
Well, I think people
All right,
focus on that with prop firms, but you need to be thinking big picture on how you're going to use live funds too. And you're not going to use live funds like that. You need to have a system for that.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation. Trading prop and trading live is 2 totally different animals. You can't even compare the 2. You need to be mentally ready to be able to go live, because some people trade these prop accounts and they're doing account churning, and it's a totally different beast, and it's not something that's going to translate well to when you go into the live markets. So I always recommend everyone is that instill those good habits early, and treat these accounts like they're a live account. You have to. And then when you go to the live account, you're already going to be ready for it. You can't treat these evals like it's a casino. It's a horrible, horrible way to come in and utilize a prop firm. It's terrible. And a lot of people do it, and it's a shame.
That's why people get so frustrated.
Well, yeah, of course.
Let me say this. In light of what you're saying, in light of the folks that we have on our stream today,
okay,
in light of FOMC Day and a wild Wednesday,
yes.
How about another round of giveaways?
Oh, let's do it.
Should we do it?
What are we doing, though? What are we doing? I want to hear it. Well, what's the plan here?
How about this? 50 people win free Starter Plus accounts. I know you're an expert guy.
Oh, I was going to say, if you give expert away, that... All right, fine. And Starter Plus is still very, very good.
Thank you. Yeah, you got to work with me. That's what I already had made, okay?
Well, didn't you guys remove the daily loss limit on the Starter Plus, or is that did you do that for?
That was on the starter.
That was on the starter.
Right?
That was the starter. Okay, all right. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm an expert guy, but Starter Plus still solid. Listen, if you're getting a free account, it's a free account at the end of the day.
And that
Starter Plus are good accounts.
Be irresponsible.
Yeah, that is true.
All right,
don't lose it.
Tyler, I'm going to put the code on the screen now, and I'm going to ask you to read it to the group, okay?
Got it.
All right, folks, you must be a subscriber to be eligible to win, so hit that button right now. This code is going on your screen now.
Hit it. All right, guys, ready? TG50. Run it up quickly. Get those accounts as fast as you can and treat them extremely responsibly. Do not be a degenerate with these accounts, or I'll be extremely ashamed of all of you. You treat this like it's your live account. Okay? You take it serious. I don't want you to go gamble this account because it's free. That's the
We need to go make money. You got to have the account to make money.
Exactly. You want to use this as leverage. Now you got a free account. You invested 0 capital and see how much you could take away from it. Don't go and be like, all right, screw it. Free account, FOMC, full port, NQ, 5 minis. Do not do that. Bad.
It can be totally free because there's no activation either. So
yeah, no, guys, please treat these responsibly and treat it like it's a live account. Do the right thing.
All right,
I think they got it.
Yeah, let us know if you got it. And I will say this too: stay tuned, folks. We have our very new segment with Mr. Ash Trades, Ash Ketchum, Ashy as I call him, starting in just 60 seconds. But before that, I'm going to ask for a 1 second, 1, 2, 3 sentence conclusion on the day from each of the folks you see on your screen now. Forrest, I'm going to you first. Words of wisdom for the day.
Make money, don't lose money. See you tomorrow.
He always just spits facts, this man. He really is. He's like a philosopher, if you will.
That's what they call me, factual Forrest.
Factual Forrest. All right, Barbie.
Well, it is FOMC day, so your plan has to be FOMC related, or you don't have a plan. So just trade careful around FOMC and be smart and back test whatever you're about to do before you do it.
Don't forget, folks, we're planning an IRL meetup at Barbie's Ranch, so stay tuned for details on that in the weeks to follow.
The
Tyler.
whole crew, all the chat.
Okay. Word of advice, guys, today. Reduce your risk no matter what. This red folder news is going to bring a lot of volatility, and there's no need to overtrade, and stick to your plan, and do not get emotional, and do not get FOMO. Please do not. There's always another trade, and there's always another day. Today is not the day to be super risk on. I would actually reduce your risk if you are going to be involved in FOMC in any other way. My humble and personal opinion, please stay away from the markets at 2 o'clock today. You don't want any part of it, and it's going to be bad. Unless you have a back-tested edge trading FOMC, then God bless you. But personal experience, just, stay entirely away from it and just wait for tomorrow. There's no need to just go and gamble your account today.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us. I appreciate the time. We will be back here at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. The next 60 minutes with Ash Trade begins now. All right, let's get Ash Ketchum, Ash Trades on with us. Hard-hitting segments, carries an hour. Ash, we've got a wild Wednesday, FOMC day. We've been cooking. We talked about gold. We talked about ES. We talked about NQ. What do you have for us today?
Hey, good morning. What's up, everyone? It's funny that you mentioned Ash Ketchum, actually. That is actually where it came from.
All right. Look at that. Got
to catch them all. And that's what we're doing here every single day on the stream. So thanks for having me on again. Ready to get another good day in. Looking to relentlessly work and learn every single day of the week.
Awesome. Alrighty, sir. Well, I'm turning it over to you.
Sounds good. So, what's up, everyone? How's everybody's day going so far? Hello? Hope everybody's day is going well so far. Let's see how everybody's doing so far today. Throw a 1 in the chat if you're green on the day or green on the week. Let's go for the week. Throw a 1 in the chat if you're green for the week. Throw a 2 in the chat if you're red for the week. And throw a 3 in the chat if you have yet to take a trade this week. Okay, a bunch of 1 so far. It's a good start. Bunch of 1 so far. Couple 2s, couple 2s. Very good, very good. Well, we'll start the segment with going through our assets. We'll take a look at some biases. We'll create a game plan, and we'll go through the information. I said this the last couple days. It's going to be a bit repetitive with me. That's because I only follow one model. I have defined justifications. Those are the reasons why I do things. So when I go through my process, you'll see that same process daily. Okay, so let's do that here. We'll go through our assets, and we'll take a look at what we have for today. First things first, we got to get over here to the economic calendar. Very, very important. We have to understand that FOMC is today. I know everybody else mentioned it multiple times already this morning, but I'm going to go ahead and go through my justifications to my actions too, so that everybody can see how I run my business. First things first is time is the most important element, okay? We need to understand the opening times. That is one of the most important times. Asia Open, London Open, New York Open. Next is the economic calendar. And this is one of our most anticipated high-impact news drivers, okay? So non-farm payroll, CPI, FOMC. Anytime that those occur, you need to be aware of it, okay? Some of our most volatile news events, okay? Very simple. As a risk manager, you need to determine your risk, okay? Are you willing to risk today Yes or no? If you are willing to risk today, lower the risk because of the volatility. Okay? We got to understand that 2 p.m. is going to be an important time. Once we understand time, then we can get over to the charts. Okay? For me, I always start on the higher time frames to obtain a bias. Okay? Let's go through our assets, take a look. Yesterday I was bullish. I am bullish again today for the same exact reason. NQ had tapped into a daily imbalance here. Right, so we'll annotate that here. At the time that we tapped into this daily imbalance, we also had a cracking correlation between two correlated assets. Okay, so if you take a look at the lows, you can see that NQ took out Friday's low. If we head over to ES, you can see that at the same exact time, ES made a higher low. Okay, so the cracking correlation, the divergence, whatever you want to call it, is showing strength in the marketplace. Okay, so I'm looking for higher prices because of that. Right, so now in terms of a game plan, okay, now in terms of a game plan, we understand time. We're looking to participate during New York Open, and we have to be aware of FOMC. In terms of a bias, we have a bullish bias because of the daily imbalance, because of the daily bullish SMT. Therefore, the last thing in terms of a game plan is an entry function. And it's pretty straightforward here. If you're bullish, you should be looking for a bullish entry function, right? The reason to having a bias is to understand what you're looking to execute. Okay, so I'm bullish for the day. I would look for a bullish entry function during New York Open. Okay, and everybody knows already, I execute the unicorn model. The unicorn model is a breaker plus an FVG. And you can see that here. So we have at New York Open, you get a swing low here. You get a swing high here. We get a new swing low here, then a new high. That's all 4 institutional swing points you need to create a breaker block. And your bullish breaker is going to be the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and outline the highest up closed candle before the leg down that took liquidity. This is the leg down that took liquidity because we ran below a swing low. In my opinion, liquidity to me are swing highs and swing lows. So that's why I'm saying we took liquidity here. Okay, so grab liquidity. We then displace through the breaker block. And when we displace through the breaker block, we also left an FVG aligned with it. Okay, so I'm looking at long positions. This is the position that I'm looking at. It's a breaker block plus an FVG. When executing this position, I look to enter at the beginning of the breaker, right? So it's exactly what the position indicator tool is showing. I put a stop loss at the low, and I aim for 2R. So this is what we'll be watching for today. It provided multiple entries already. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 different entries that are sitting about 20 points in profit. We'll wait to see what the results to that are. Now, if you want to go over any questions or comments as we wait and watch, feel free to throw any questions or comments in the chat. We could start to go over them. Do you expect a two-stage delivery for today's FOMC? Yeah, so you can see that you have the federal funds rate at 2 p.m. and then the press conference at 2:30. So yes, I would say a two-stage delivery for this reasoning. It's not like CPI. It's not like non-farm payroll where it's just one time to release, right? Non-farm payroll is at 8:30 a.m. on a Friday, the first Friday of each month, right? So that's a one-stage delivery because there's only one time in terms of the news release. FOMC, you have the federal funds rate at 2 o'clock. Then you have the press conference at 2:30. So expect volatility at those times. Do you monitor your position or just set it in the morning and forget it? So I do a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward, right? So I enter at the beginning of the breaker. I put a stop at the low and a take profit at 2R. Now I still manage the position, even though I do a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward, I still manage the position because I have to ensure that the orders are being filled, right? On top of that, after the orders are filled, depending on what platform you use or what orders you're submitting, you have to ensure that other orders are being taken off the book, right? So for example, we got entries already. After the entry, if we went to take profit, depending on what orders you submitted, if you still have your stop loss order in here, if you still have a sell stop in here, you have to then go in and take that sell stop off the book. You see what I'm saying? So you have to ensure that your orders are being filled. Then after your orders are filled, any remaining orders that are left on the book, you have to take them off. You don't want to leave orders on the market. So yes, it's a set it and forget it type of management, but I'm still present during the management. The other thing that I'll say about that too is during high volatility times, you don't want your orders being skipped or slipped, however you want to call it. Okay, so yes, I'm still managing the position during the time of, even with a fixed 1 to 2 type of management. Very good question. Very good question. Can I take this position now, or is it too late? You are your own risk manager. You are to determine your own risk. You are to take responsibility of your own execution. So I'm not here to tell you what to do. You are going to be the only person to ever click the buttons for yourself. In terms of executing, I will say that I consider a position until it moves to the target, right? So in a long position, the targets would be the highs or your risk to reward, right? So if price were to go to the target before you get an entry, then I would no longer consider it. So since it hasn't gone to the target yet, we're only slightly in profit. It's still a viable position. How many assets do you trade? You can see them here. In my opinion, less is more. I don't want to fall into information overload. So I have a very small watch list. In terms of executing, I really only execute NQ and ES. Yes, I do watch oil. Yes, I do watch Dixie, but my executions are here in NQ and ES. I don't want to have a large watch list. I don't want to fall into information overload, right? So for example, I don't want to have 20 assets like this. Personally, that's just my opinion. I don't want to fall into information overload. I want to get good at one thing and keep doing that. Hi, Ash. Do you trim your beard yourself? It looks amazing. That is very nice of you. Thank you very much. I do have a barber. I go to the barber shop for my haircuts. Now that you say that, now I kind of feel like I need another haircut. So thank you, though. I appreciate that. Get back over to chat and see about any other questions. Again, feel free to throw any questions or comments in chat. We're waiting to see the result to this position. As we're waiting, we're going over some information. Do me a favor, like the video, sub to the channel, turn the notifications on. That way you can be notified for when we go live again. We are doing this daily. We're looking to provide value every single chance we can. So if you want to participate with us here in chat, sub to the channel so that you can chat with us during the live streams. Could you please explain the 5-minute draw on liquidity here? So I just pointed to it here, right? So in terms of liquidity, I look at swing highs or swing lows. You have a swing high here, okay? So that is one of them. I spoke about this yesterday on yesterday's stream as well. Using Asia session liquidity, right? You have all of these highs in here. So swing highs or swing lows are what I use for liquidity on top of the daily time frame. The daily time frame being where I got my bias from. I'm looking for a move from this daily FEG here to this swing high here. So in terms of draw on liquidity, this is what I'm looking for it to draw to. Bias is sell in 1 hour. Yep. If you have a different bias than me, that's completely okay. You should be an independent thinker. You should come up with your own information on your own. You should understand what you're looking to execute and what you can identify. So just because I'm here looking at this information doesn't mean that we have to agree on it. Following Ash trade on eval with risk management. Let's see if he's just an influencer or a real trader. You could check the payouts that I have. I post them online. I have no problem showing everybody. I have multiple 4-figure payouts, 5-figure payouts. I've even had a 6-figure payout. So definitely a trader. That's why I'm here trading with everyone. How many points is that trade? Stop loss is 76 points. Take profit 150. How long have I been trading? We're approaching a decade now. We are closing in on a decade of trading.
Ash, hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Watching you throwing gems again at us, getting better 1% every day, right?
Yes,
I love your
definitely
thought
looking to work
process.
and learn every single day.
Exactly. So I have a question actually, which is why I connected. So I'm curious about how do you approach FOMC days? Like, what do you do when you wake up? You're getting ready for the market, right? You're doing pre-market analysis, maybe, but do you have that sort of approach to the New York session, at least the morning session, whether you go like, okay, today in the afternoon we have red folder news, Fed rates coming up. I'm going to stay away from the charts, stay away from the markets, but I'm going to put up the alerts, set up the alerts, and just be aware of the levels and stuff like that. So how do you approach to days like this? Do you trade at all?
Yep. So there's certain days that I don't participate at all. It's very clear. Everybody could see the trading panel down here. I'm not logged into any platforms for a reason. FOMC, CPI, non-farm payroll, and bank holidays. Those are the days that I don't consider any risk at all, purely for the volatility. In terms of being a risk manager, I think in terms of risk, not reward. So I don't fall into the euphoria of thinking, we're going to have a large move today because FOMC is today. I'm actually on the other side of that fence saying, if there was a time to lose, today would be the time I do not want to lose. Higher volatility, to me, is not euphoria. I'd rather be on the sidelines during those times. So for a day like today, I still show up. I conduct my business. I want to stay within the routine and continue to keep doing what I do daily, right? It's about building the muscle memory and showing up every single day. So even though, right, we're not trading today, I'm still looking for my model. And it's just another data point. Like we just got another data point here. So, right, so this would be an invalidation to today's trade. And to me, that validates my logic of not participating today. It's about bettering your bottom line, having less expenses while increasing your top line. So for me, this works out. For me, this logic just saved me another expense. And that's why I move forward with that.
That is really strong. I really like the fact that how you're approaching trading. You're approaching trading as if this is your business that you're taking care of. I love that. Here's another question though. So you don't trade on days like today, FOMC, CPI, big news data driven market days, but you still show up. What's your main goal showing up on days like this? Like, for example, you annotated this NQ today. You had the breaker set up. It violated your setup. Do you log this? Do you journal this? If so, like, what are the key parameters for Ash trades in that journal specifically?
Yep. So in my opinion, your journal is going to be your biggest learning opportunity. It'll show you information that you don't get during the time of the trade because you're so focused on executing. So that's why the data collection is so important. I'm looking to journal every single day, whether I take risk or not. So that's the first thing, is journal. The second thing is the muscle memory, right? So go look at any professional sports, player. You take a look at Michael Jordan, you wouldn't have seen how many shots he missed because they were, he practices, he shoots the ball every single day. But you only see the shots he made because that was during the game.
Yeah, just tip of the iceberg, right?
So you have to show up and conduct your business, whether you risk or not, because you need to be building that muscle memory.
Mhm.
You need to be collecting that data, and you need to be journaling that data so that you can go back and review it at any given moment in time.
So, okay, muscle memory. How about a situation like you take a break, or maybe you take your family to a holiday for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you don't trade. Obviously, you don't look at the charts. What's your routine look like when you come back to charting, to trading from holidays?
Yep. Definitely easing back into the routine. Built-in time off is very good. You should absolutely do that. You should have scheduled time off because we want to be here for the long term. So in terms of, the health of your business, you don't want to run into burnout. So those scheduled breaks is a very good idea. And you should understand that when you come back from the breaks, that you shouldn't just go 0 to 100. But, the day that you get back from the break, you shouldn't just be throwing on your largest size position the very first moment you get back to the screens.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So work your way back into the market. Take a day or two, maybe even 3, to get back into order flow, understanding, how the market is moving. Are we currently in consolidation? Are we trending in a certain direction? Is there any kind of economical situations that are arising? Take a day or two to ease yourself into that process so that we can get back into the flow.
Awesome. So I want to actually take your attention back to the charts because it looks interesting to me right now. We had a big drop ahead of FOMC, which personally I was just anticipating a choppy morning, to be honest with you. Seeing your initial idea failing, the setup failing, what does that tell you as a trader? Like, do you flip bias right away, or do you reevaluate, maybe like zoom out, change the time frame, and see what's actually going on, or why did it drop? Maybe the draw on liquidity is something else. Do you just go back and reevaluate, or flip sides? What do you do?
So first thing is flipping bias. That's something that I don't do. So I create a game plan, then I go into the market executing that game plan. Once I get a result to that game plan, then I'm done for the day. And we're seeing it here. I explained why I was bullish today. I then pointed to the model that I execute. And now that we got a result, I would just be done for the day. So we got a result here. It hit invalidation. At this point in time, I would turn off all platforms, be done for the day. This is where it's a manual intervention for risk management.
Mm-hmm.
Completely remove yourself from the platforms, from the devices, go to the gym, touch some grass. That way you don't do anything impulsive that you shouldn't be doing. So no, I don't flip bias. This is just another data point for me. I would then just come back the next day looking to create a game plan, execute the game plan, go about my process once again.
Okay. Now, what do you suggest for people who are flipping bias all day long? Like how they can tackle that, how they can deal with that?
So in my opinion, there are millions and millions of ways to trade. So I'm not sitting here saying that the way that I trade is right or wrong. You can trade however you'd like. It really only comes down to being red or green at the end of the day. The advice that I would give you is making sure that you're objective to price action. So if you were to continue to keep trading after a loss, after a win, after a break even, as long as you could be objective to the information, That's the advice that I would give. Don't instantly jump into another position because you're infuriated by a loss.
Mhm.
Don't allow the emotions to create intrusive thoughts that make you do something you shouldn't do.
So
Remain
right.
objective.
Deep down, you already know that it's actually you doing wrong, right? I always
Right.
felt that whenever I overtrade. I know I shouldn't push the buttons, but something within tells me, it's just like chase that loss, chase that drawdown, whatever. And that's when, things go south so fast.
And it's even worse when you win in those scenarios. When you have those negative reinforcements, they might make you do it again the next time. So
Yeah.
the result doesn't really matter. And that's what I always try to get across to everybody else. It's the process that matters. If you can stick to your process, then this can become a long-term business for you. If you're going to be results driven, then you're going to be emotionally induced, and you're going to burn out pretty quickly. If you ask me, it's going to be harder to be here in the long term.
100%. Let's chat. I'm looking through the questions right now. If you have questions for Ash, we have a Q&A poll. Drop it there. I'll go through it right now. Should we give away an account to the person who asks the most interesting question of the day to you? I love doing those things because it stirs the imagination of our audience, and they start asking really good questions. Might be challenging for you though, just so you know.
Let's see who has the most valuable question or the most interesting question, and let's reward the participation.
All right. So waiting on the questions, I'm gonna have you, Ash, to choose the winner. I'm willing to give a 50K Star Plus account. So let's see.
Go ahead, throw some questions in there. We'll give it a minute or so for you guys to get in chat. Throw a question in there and let's see what everybody has.
This one is not a bad question, actually. So here's a question that I would also like to know. Ashton Butcher is asking, what made you choose trading as a career? How did it happen for you?
So freedom of time, freedom of location, freedom of finances. After being in a career for a certain amount of years, realizing that there's a ceiling to it in terms of finances, time, location. I chose myself. I chose my family, and I realized that you only get one life. I know that's kind of just cliche to say it that way, but if you want to give away your time for something that you don't love to do, or it's not going to get you to that dream or goal in life, then in my opinion, bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. It'll be much more fulfilling. There's a lot more pride to it than simply just going about your routine and just accepting the fate of that.
Okay. Do you have any regrets getting into this business?
I have no regrets. All of the struggles were well worth it. I learned a lot about myself and I grew from it. And in turns, it bettered a lot of different things. It bettered relations. It bettered health. It bettered my time. It bettered my location. In my opinion, I would choose hard over easy every single day of the week because of the pride that comes with it.
Yeah.
I would take hard now for easy later every single day of the week.
What was your biggest challenge, you would say, as a trader? Or struggle, rather.
The money aspect, without a doubt.
Money.
I know everybody's so attached to the money, and I am too. I always had rent to pay, mortgage to pay, food to put on the table. There's nothing easy about having something that's not stable, that's not reoccurring just because you show up. So without a doubt, the first couple of years of going through the trial and error phase, it made it very hard. It made it a huge obstacle, but again, that's what made it so rewarding.
And do you think the money aspect of it, or the financial struggle, how did that affect your day-to-day day-to-day trading? Did it like have any sort of impact on your trading at first? Maybe you felt under the pressure, maybe you had to make the rent tomorrow or whatever, and you went to the market just like long, then queue, whatever, for 15 contracts, try and make that rent money. Anything like that, has it ever happened to you?
In terms of trading, no, but in terms of motivation, yes. So, every time that I would, because I started with cash accounts, so every time I ruined a cash account, that made me instantly go out and go work a weekend job again and again and again. So it forced me to work more. I wasn't willing to put my health or well-being at risk. So I never stepped over that line because I never really had a backstop or a safety net or whatever you want to call it. So I never put that portion at risk, but it really instilled a lot of motivation to work more. So going out and working a second job on the weekends, every time I would ruin a cash account, I would want to instantly fund it again. So I would go out and work more for it.
Did you start with futures, or was it stock options or something like that?
Options, yeah. So options is just very easily, readily available for everybody. You can download an app on your phone.
Yeah.
Instantly start grabbing some calls, some puts. On top of the leverage, obviously, at that moment in time, I was very euphoric. I was very impulsive. Seeing the number go up and down quicker using more leverage was very intriguing at the time, but come to realize it's, it takes a lot of education. You got to know a lot more about price and the options market itself to produce.
Yeah, you need to be able to somehow time your executions of the options. I remember I've been there myself as well. When I first started, I started with stock options as well. And I remember like I used to fund my account, then make some profit for a day or two, then blow it all before Friday or Saturday, and then I have to work to refund that account. And it was a cycle for me like that for a while. I would say months, maybe years, in fact. And it was very draining. I remember just questioning myself whether I am capable of trading at all, or am I just wasting my time? Because it's also a struggle, like a mental struggle as well. Because like life goes on, you're getting older, and all you're focused on is trading. And if it doesn't work out for you, and what are you gonna do when you're 30? You just wasted 10 years of your time just for nothing, So that aspect was really challenging for me personally. But yeah, I believe traders with stock options background do better in futures though. I don't know why. I would say it's because of theta, but
I fully agree with that too, because I found a huge leap forward moving out of the stock, out of the options market. Because
that was so relieving, wasn't it?
It seemed a little more controllable. Lowering the leverage, I was able to hold on to a position longer. And that's when I realized, the power of risk to reward, the fact that you do have to be overly impatient with your losers and be very patient with your winners. When you can realize that you have to stay in positions longer to obtain that risk to reward, then, the difference between all of the Greeks versus futures can help you do that. Because, in the options market, you can lose in options just by the Greeks decaying.
Yeah.
And price never even ended up doing what you were looking for it to do, just because the Greeks decay, and then it ends up working out for what you were looking for.
Yeah. Or
So
it works out right away, but you have daily options and you don't make any money. In fact, you lose even if it pans out. That was the worst part for me, because I used to trade dailies on SPY, SPX and stuff like that. But now that I look back, that felt like I don't know, like a gamble, so to speak.
Yeah.
I thought I knew what I was doing, but obviously I was wrong. But back to the questions. I have a question for you actually from the chat, which I feel like is a good question. This is from, I lost the question. Hold on, let me find that real quick. Chat just, wow, a lot of interesting questions here. If you see anything that you'd like to answer as well, just feel free to go while I'm looking for the person.
Yeah, there was one here. Let me get back to it. What's something you learned from trading that you could apply to your personal life? So this one was pretty important for me, and it helped me in trading along with my personal life. Getting rid of my ego. Something that I learned from trading that helped in my personal life. Killing the ego. Absolutely moving forward each day, understanding that it's a learning opportunity, understanding that one result does not determine your future, understanding that the past doesn't reflect your future, not being completely attached to one outcome and not allowing that one outcome to ruin your work. My ego was, it came from sports. I was an athlete in college, so I was always trying to be my best. And when I wasn't being my best, it would hurt my performance moving forward. It would hurt some relations because I just wanted to be better in terms of personal life. Once I killed that ego, I was able to understand that results are just a byproduct of your process, that losing is acceptable, that especially in this business where it's inevitable that you will have losses, but that doesn't determine your future. So killing that ego, really, it bettered relations in real life, it bettered performance in trading, and even provided some patience too. Once I realized that, I don't need to be at a certain location at a certain time, I then also became a little more patient in real life and in the market, knowing that this was just another data collection. This does not determine my overall presence in my business. It's just another data point. You might be muted, Burke.
Sorry.
All good. There you go.
My mic acts up sometimes. So I was asking, speaking of sports, I'm curious, what'd you play? Were you in college?
I was a lacrosse player, so I played lacrosse in college until I tore my ACL. And then that was it for that.
Wow. Okay. So I found the question. This is from, I need my glasses. I'm blind. This is from Sweetie Makwana. Sweetie Makwana, by the way, open ticket. I'm giving you the 50K starter plus account. So he's asking, what's the biggest psychological trap traders fall into after passing a prop from challenge?
Maybe it was just me. Maybe it's relatable for other traders. Being in a rush. You finally get to that funded account and you're thinking, now every position could be a withdrawal. I need to run up this account. I finally made it to the funded stage and now, I'm ready for that payout. So you You get the account credentials, you instantly hop right into the market because the opportunity is we're no longer in eval, we're in the funded stage, and payouts are possible. We got to slow it down. Patience is truly a virtue. You don't have to hit a certain goal at any point in time. Whatever timeline you're on is unique to yourself, and you should allow it to happen naturally. You shouldn't compare it to anybody else. You shouldn't have any sort of expectation. In my opinion, your focus should solely be on managing your risk to the best of your abilities and following your plan. Have a defined plan. Focus on executing that plan. Be patient if that plan is not currently on the screen. Remain on the sidelines until it is, and allow the results to be a byproduct of that. So,
I love that.
Overall answer, I would say patience is a virtue. I think if you can, once you get into the funded stage, find patience and realize that base hits will take you a long way. You do not need to hit a home run. And matter of fact, hitting home runs are lower probability than base hits.
100%. Even I always say this to people. If you can't execute, multiple contracts, that means you're never going for base hits. You're likely going for home runs. So I usually recommend people. I not recommend people, but like whenever I talk to my trading buddies, I always tell them like I would rather trade 5 micros, right, over 1 mini, just to be able to take that partial at the base level, and then the rest is risk free. Just let it go. If it pans out, it pans out. If it doesn't play out, it's whatever. I don't care at that point. So that's something to consider. But about setting goals, what's your take on setting monetary goals on a funded account or a personal funded account? Doesn't matter, prop account or not. Like for example, an X person has a goal of making $500 per week, and he chases that. Obviously, what's your take on that?
I wouldn't make it a monetary goal. Yes, it would be good to get to the point of making the amount of money of your day job so that you can have a base level of knowing, if this is a profitable business, are you making as much as your main source of income? That would probably be the first step. The moment you start making more than your main source of income, then maybe this could become your main source of income. Maybe this could replace that. But that's a little further down the road, in my opinion. I think that should maybe be step 2 and step 3. I think step 1 shouldn't be monetary. There shouldn't be a dollar amount. It should be red or green. It doesn't matter if you're making $20. It doesn't matter if you're making 200, 2,000. The number doesn't matter is what I'm getting at here, is that, because the reality of the situation is compounding is a very strong tool. You just have to learn how to be green, because when you can be green, you can compound, you can change your position size and look for that monetary number that you're actually looking for. You need the skill first, though.
Yeah.
So I would say step 1 is without a number, without a monetary goal, just having enough data to prove that you can be profitable and you can be green. And I'm not talking about taking a trade and being green. I'm talking about your expenses being less than your withdrawals.
Yeah, 100%.
Once you're green, then start looking for a certain number.
And since you mentioned scaling up, I'm really curious about your take on that as well. When should a person, or when did you scale up? How did it happen? Were you, or how emotional did you feel when you first scaled up your initial size?
So the first time I tried doing it, I did it too soon. That was one of the times that I realized that patience is a virtue. That was one of the times that I realized I needed to kill the ego because it didn't go well. I made a nice portion of money, tried scaling up, and round tripped it. Gave it all back. And you have to go through those experiences to learn these things, and it's completely natural as a trader to do that. So don't let it deter you when it does happen. Just keep working. But that's what showed me that the next time around when I got to that location, I needed to build a safety net first, a cushion, whatever you want to call it. 12 months of expenses, a year and a half of expenses, socked away, complete cushion. That comfortability of sitting on that cushion made that second round of compounding much easier because there was less emotional decision making that went into it. It was more focused on risk management. And it also showed me that I didn't need to go larger position size. I needed to continue to keep doing what I was doing, just with more capital, right? If you're working with a 50K expert account and you're capable of making it to that payout, well, you're allowed to have 3 of those. So what happens when you do the same exact thing, but now you're withdrawing from 3 accounts because you've compounded? You're doing the same thing. You're taking the same trade, but that trade is being copied across 3 accounts now.
So yeah, scaling doesn't necessarily mean that you're scaling up with the sizing of the trades, right?
Right.
Nowadays, you can just like add a new account, add a second account, third account, and go from there, which actually allows you to just calm your mind down, because instead of trading 5 contracts on NASDAQ, you're just trading still 2 contracts with 3 accounts and scaling up in that way. That's lovely. So Ash, I was looking at your chart again. I just saw you annotated the lows. Before we wrap up the stream today, could you walk us through what you think about the market right now before FOMC?
Yep. So, I mean, there is no clear direction, and that's why I wanted to put this on the chart. It is clearly range bound. So just understanding the market environment is very important. You can still trade a range bound environment. It just might be different than a trending environment. And that's why I put this here. Deviations of ranges are very good trades, right? You could see the deviation here. You could see the deviation here. I got to turn this magnet off. There we go. You can see the deviations of the range in multiple locations. And once you can identify the type of market that you're in, then you can identify the type of trade you can take. So, for example, we're currently in a ranging market. It's clear that since the beginning of May, we've just been going sideways. So, with that being said, in my opinion, some of the best trades in a ranging market is at the extreme of the range back to equilibrium of the range. So what I'm trying to explain here is, if this is the current range, a deviation of the range would be going below the range. And then once we get back inside the range, that's the trade that I would look to take there. So, and notice that it, once again, is a breaker. It's still going to be the same entry function. Just the location that I'm looking for the entry function is what's important here. It looks like we're in a consolidating market. I would look for a deviation of the range. Then once we get back inside the range, I would then target equilibrium of the range. So here's your equilibrium of the range, right? So allow a deviation to occur. I would personally like the deviation to be the bottom of the range because I'm bullish. I would like to long below old lows. Allow the deviation of the bottom of the range. Once it comes back inside the range, look to use equilibrium as a target. Now, you either get a deviation of the range or you get a breakout of the range. And with FOMC, that could absolutely be a scenario. So, you have all those bull flags, bear flags, any kind of pattern.
I was going to say that actually. This to me, I can totally see your anticipations. By the way, I was going to say this looks like a fake head and shoulders pattern to me. So it's going to just break down the neckline. I think that's what it's called, and then reverse immediately, which obviously forms a breaker block right there. I can totally see that.
Yep, that. So it would be the deviation for me, or the only other information that I would look at is the breakout. You can absolutely get a break of the top of the range. If we broke out, right, a bull flag, whatever you want to call it, it really doesn't matter. Then I would use the imbalance, because I use swing highs, swing lows, and imbalances to trade. So if we were to decisively break out of this range, then I would be looking at the imbalance, the FVG that is created here, to act as an area of support to go higher. So these are the two scenarios that I'm looking at. Yes, it's two-sided, and that's because, as I stated earlier, I think it's better to be objective to price than to try to influence it with your opinion.
Yeah, so not marry your bias, right?
Right, exactly.
And it's not easy. We always want to believe that we're 100% right in the markets,
and that's the ego that I was mentioning, killing earlier. The moment you can kill your ego and you can just be objective to price, then we can allow order flow to do what it wants to do.
Exactly. That being said, Ash, we're coming to an end for today. I really appreciate you just coming here, showing up every day, blessing us with your knowledge and your wisdom. And I also would like to appreciate the audience who's staying until the end. For me, that's what matters. Just like staying until the end, taking as much information as possible, and try to get better every day, right? But thanks for tuning in, everyone. Do not forget to smash the subscribe and like button. If you want to find Ash, his Twitter account is in the description, which is would you like to give your Twitter handle, Ash, before I wrap it up?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can find me at Ash Trades. I'll say the full thing. It's _Ash_Trades_ across all the social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Discord. Ash Trades. We will be doing this every single day. You'll find me showing up, working, and learning every single day. And my last note for everybody is losses are part of this game, right? We watched a loss today, and that is just as important as seeing a win. We have to be able to identify both of them, and we have to be able to be objective to both of them. So losses are learning experiences. Winners are learning experiences. And tomorrow, we're going to continue to keep showing up no matter the results.
That's awesome. All righty, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone.
Have a nice day, everyone.